welcome back to another episode of Popcorn Politics. We are going to be talking about Star Trek Discovery, Season 3, Episode 5, The Seed Vault, today. Joining me again, Daniel and Kai. How you guys doing?
Not in the car, so the sound quality should be better this time, right?
Indeed it is.
Well, no more dodging deer.
Nope.
So,
No more spotty connections and me calling out to the darkness to
not
no
tonight.
avail.
Not tonight. Not tonight. I'm here with thee, and Kai is on a stable connection also. So,
Hooray.
good to go. Yeah, man. Star Trek is heating up, dude. It's heating up. This one was a good one. This one was a return to form, in my opinion. This was, even though it's nestled in the overarching story that Discovery is trying to tell, it was a self-isolated mission, self-isolated story, very return to form for Star Trek. It was, I think, their way of getting their foothold with these Johnny Come Lately Star Trek fans that yes, this is Star Trek. You know, this was a typical episode from like Next Generation or the original show where there's an issue at a seed vault, they have to go and do it, and it's got its own contained story. So I dug it as a self-contained story. Thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Um,
did too.
yeah, this is my least favorite episode of the season.
Hmm.
It's not a bad episode,
Not a bad
but
episode.
in terms of forward momentum and things that didn't annoy me, there were more things that annoyed me this episode than there have been the entire season.
Such
Um,
as?
I was annoyed by, and I get this was kind of the point, but I was annoyed for a different reason. The new Starfleet people. I was
It's gonna. Yeah, it's a different Starfleet for sure.
Well, I was annoyed by them because it felt so contrived and stereotypical. Like, I don't know. It just felt like exactly what I would have expected.
Yeah, but I mean, for where I think they're going to take the storytelling, I think, man, that's okay for right now that they do that with the Federation. I mean, you're talking about 1,000 years. So obviously things have changed. Obviously technology has changed because, like, when they did the cruise by, they got the detachable nacelles and things like that, where parts of the ship don't necessarily connect to the ship, nor do they have to anymore. And it's like very difficult for science fiction writers to, like, you're already imagining what technology of the future would be like. Now we're asking you to push another 1,000 years and what technology would look like, which
Hmm.
it is a jump, but it doesn't look like a hugely significant jump in technology. But that also makes sense considering the
Because
burn.
of the burn. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even arguing that point. I think I was annoyed by the overwhelming obtuseness that they were showing. Like, it was almost they were being difficult to a point of absurdity simply to show that this isn't the same Starfleet. Look at how difficult they're being. To the point where it's like, yeah, but they're being stupid. And they're being obviously stupid.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, if you were in their position and some spaceship just pops out of time, and it's not on the books. We know that it was all classified, so they have no record to confirm that the crew is telling the truth. You know what I mean? So it's like I thought they were doing their due diligence. Obviously, we're rooting for the crew, so these guys are going to be a little antagonistic to us as the viewers. But if you were in their position, you'd do the
No,
same crap. You'd shake the crew down.
no, I agree. I would do the same thing. But it was just how they did it. It was the way in which they went about it that rubbed me in a weird way. It felt cliche.
I
What
feel you.
what did work with that whole new Starfleet was the Giorgio stuff.
Yeah, they're going to start toying with whatever's going on in her noggin, which is pretty neato.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
gonna be great.
Yeah,
Anything that gives me more
Hey,
Giorgio.
yeah.
I like the fact they got rid of the pilot chick or whatever that chick. I'm kind of glad that she got
Her,
to stay at the vault
yeah.
because
Let's face what this episode was about. The entire purpose of this episode because Star Trek has always been the same way. You introduce a crew, you introduce a cast, you shake them down for a couple of seasons, and then the storylines that aren't working, you got to get rid of those characters. They did it with Tasha Yar in Next Generation. They did it with Kes and Voyager, when their storylines were just going nowhere. And the character's name is Non. I forget what alien race she is, but rather than kill her off because her story was going nowhere. This character, I think wasn't she Captain Lorca's security chief officer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she should have been gone with Lorca. So she's been hanging around, and it's like, what is she doing on the bridge? So the writers knew that, we knew that. So it was like, all right, we don't want to kill her because that's cliche. How can we get this character off the show in a nice way? And so they wrote this standalone episode, which is, to me, that's what it looked like. It was a vehicle to get rid of a useless character in a more thoughtful way than you're wearing a red shirt and you're going to get tased.
Yeah. I didn't mind how they handled it. I I don't know. A lot of this episode to me just feels like, yeah, that was fine. It
Yeah,
wasn't great. It was fine. It was what it was. What I did like, there were a couple moments in particular that really stood out. When the admiral is in the science office with Stamets, Tilly, and the other scientist who's great, whose name I can't remember. The short-haired chick.
Yeah, she's great. I
you
love
talking
her.
about? Are you talking about the host Adira?
No, other
No, no.
short-haired chick, the one who makes all
Yeah.
the snarky
Oh,
comments.
you're talking about Jet
Yeah.
Reno. Yeah, she's probably my favorite so far.
Yeah, she's mine too. She's fucking awesome. I
No,
always
she
look pretty
she is great.
comebacks.
She is great. But that moment where they're like, dysfunction is how we work.
Yeah,
I loved that moment. There were great moments
that
in
reminds me of some people I know.
yeah. Yeah, there were great moments in what I thought was a meh episode. I'm very curious where they're going with that whole music storyline.
Yeah, dude. And you know what? That's not the. Me and Kai recently saw something else. Kai, do you remember what movie it was we were watching where there was a universal piece of music? Oh, it was Bill and Ted
Bill and
Face the
Ted.
Music.
Yeah, dude. Bill
Yeah.
and Ted.
Oh yeah. I was like, oh, okay. We finally got to watch Bill and Ted the other night.
I haven't
Second
watched
season.
any of the Bill and Ted's.
Oh, dude, you
I
should.
thought
They're
I
like,
thought you saw. I thought you're the one that was like begging me to watch Face the Music, dude.
no,
No.
that was me, Daniel.
No, there was somebody else in podcasting or radio world that was. Oh, I think it was Angel. Wanted
Yeah,
to.
no, I'm begging you to watch Steins Gate.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
We're- Animaniacs came out, dude, and just kind of replaced Steins Gate.
Yeah, the new Animaniacs is out. So you're talking about getting me into cartoons. That's the way to do it, dog. But that's another. That's
All
another
right, well
episode. We're on
they're
Discovery.
both on Hulu, so
Steingate's on Hulu.
yeah,
Yeah, dude.
watched it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, now we get.
I checked out. I actually checked out a couple episodes the other day. You'd be proud of me, Dylan.
I am proud of you. What did you think?
Honestly, I liked it. I'm super curious to see where the show goes.
All
So,
right. So we're actually doing Discovery though right now. So focus.
Yeah. You're right. Fair
Yeah.
enough. No, honestly, this much like episode 3.
This shouldn't be popcorn politics. This should be ADHD reviews.
Do you, Daniel?
Yeah.
Do you really want to criticize me for going off topic?
Nope.
oh,
We can play
I was gonna
this.
say
game.
shots are fired, dude, and I'm just
Shots
gonna be
are
an innocent bystander and just shut my fucking mouth.
You will testify. You a witness.
You are
Shit,
in the
no, I played the
you are
fifth.
in the splash zone, Kai.
Yeah. You saw he pulled his irons first. I didn't. Anyway. Yeah, buddy. Seed vault. So evidently, this seed vault can only be manned by certain species for a certain amount of time, and there's like a lockout code, clearly,
Yeah.
so that nobody else can access it, which I guess makes sense. puts them in a
Well,
hell of a situation after the burn because, I mean, the position that they're in is whatever race non is. I forget what it is, but if those
isn't naan
cats,
like a type of Indian bread?
I don't know. It's Nahn is how you spell it.
Oh no, that's like Tich Nhat Han.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah. Well, that's her name, non. Does it mean bread? I don't know.
Naan is bread.
Space bread.
Space bread.
no, it's
I
not space bread. It's Indian bread.
I
You mean like Native American bread or Indian, like
No,
Indian?
no
like
Indian
Indian,
Indian.
like Indian. Yes.
So they named a character after Indian bread?
No, Daniel, you're getting off subject now. Just focus on the seatbelt.
Okay. Seed vault. Anyway,
So yeah, I liked how they sent Naan off. I'm gonna be honest, I completely forgot she existed.
me too, until this episode. It was, oh, she's still there. Wait, we got to get rid of her somehow. Okay, seed vault.
Well, when she showed up, it's like, when did she show up? Season
Yeah.
1? Season 2? When was she?
I remember her being Lorca's little bitch.
It's been
Wow.
so long since I've seen season 1. I barely remember it.
Yeah. So she had to go. And so this was a good way to do it. I mean, it was a cool episode, too. It was an episode about, I mean, you got a guy. It's a screwed up situation. He's got a dead family, and he's looking. I mean, he freezes them even though they're dead, looking for a miracle. I mean, that's some obsessive stuff. I forget what it was. I think it was like a shock wave that happened in that solar system that phased him outside of our material world or allowed him to
Ma-
phase in and phase out. Right?
Can I pose a theory?
Sure.
Because I might be misremembering, but was it not a shockwave that killed the previous Tall?
Yeah.
It was an explosion. You talking about the trill?
Yeah, was that an explosion or a shockwave?
It was an explosion on the ship.
Okay, I thought it might have been a shockwave. Never mind.
Yeah, it was like an explosion on the ship.
Theory retracted.
Theory retracted. But yeah,
Um,
so it's like, dude freezes his family to try desperately to find a cure in this seed vault because, one would, I guess, if you're that hard up on letting things go. I mean, and that was
Yeah.
another, me and you were talking about the other episode, the overall push of Star Trek is talking about trauma. But I think this was a really good episode for letting go that piggybacked off the last episode with Adira having to also confront trauma and let it go.
Yeah, this was more, I think, about confronting loss versus confronting trauma.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and this, like episode 3, and I completely agree with everything you said about the storyline, but like episode 3, I felt like this was a connective tissue of an
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
This was, okay, we got to set up the burn, which I want to talk about the preview to next episode if you guys watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I have not. I have not.
Okay.
But basically, this was a connective tissue episode setting up the rest of the story, which is going to be about the burn.
Yeah.
But we briefly touched on it, but I do want to go back to it. The Giorgio stuff.
Yeah. Well, before we get into Giorgio, I think obviously what they're also setting up, which if they do it right, which I'm confident in the writers at this point. At this point, I don't think that they can mess it up, but they're introducing also into Discovery the idea of the temporal Cold War
Yes, they are.
that was heavily dealt with in Enterprise. I mean, Enterprise was all about the temporal Cold War. It was all about the temporal accords, and that there is a force, a Federation sanctioned group somewhere in the future that does police the manipulation of time. And this new Federation is taking a big risk for even letting the Discovery do anything because of the temporal accords. So, they're probably going to tie the burn. I mean, obviously, we're going to explore the burn, but because of the nature of what Discovery is doing with time travel, dude, you're going to bump into the temporal police or whatever you want to call them,
Yeah.
in the course of this season. So it's kind of cool. Like everybody was bitching that this didn't feel like Star Trek, and in just one small season, we haven't even gotten 6 episodes done. They've managed to tie it into Star Trek: The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and then Enterprise. So it's like this thing is so in bed with Star Trek now, you can't say it's not the baby.
No, so I agree. They're going to do the temporal wars. I actually think they're going to go into that next season. I think this season is going to be all about the burn, and then maybe in the season finale, in like the last 5 minutes, they meet the temporal police.
No, I tell you what would be bad to the bone is in the last 5 minutes of this season if Captain Archer shows up.
I don't know who that is, but
Captain Archer,
Maybe.
Scott Bakula, dude, he's the captain of the NX-01 Enterprise.
okay, you say this like I should know it, but
You
remember,
should know it.
this is my first Star Trek show.
Oh my God, you guys. Okay, let me just break it down for you.
No.
Enter- Enterprise is before the United Federation of Planets. Okay, so you only had Starfleet, which is Earth Starfleet. So the Enterprise in that one, which is very much like a submarine, it's built that way, is not a Constitution class or anything like that. It's the NX-01 Enterprise, which is a prototype. And due to the nature of that show, the Vulcans are kind of supervising us and getting us out there, getting our space legs, and they don't think that we're ready. But because of a Klingon crash landing on Earth, the NX-01 Enterprise has to go out on its first mission. So now we're out there in space, and the course of the show deals with the temporal accords, the temporal Cold War, the manipulation of time. It lays the tracks for the fact that there is a group that monitors the different timelines and how they're manipulated. And then
Mhm.
by the end of the entire show, you actually have the origin of the Federation of Planets. Like that's the entire point of the show, is to show you how the United Federation of Planets came to be. And so when we left off, that's Captain Archer. That's before Kirk. It's before Spock. It's the earliest that we can go back. And that set up the temporal accords. So now that we've dealt with that in the earliest Star Trek story, now we're going farthest into the future that we've ever gone before with Discovery. So it's a nice tie-in, because a lot of people, and I don't mean to rant, but Enterprise got a bad fucking rap because it was an excellent show when it came out, but it only lasted 4 seasons, and that was because of 9/11. 9/11 happened right when that show was getting its traction, and the world lost attention to Star Trek. And so that show was short lived, but it was really good stuff. It was really good writing, really good storytelling. And Discovery is bringing it home.
Yeah, I
So,
I feel like I keep going back to this, but
to summate, sorry, and then you can continue. It would be neato for some geek like me at the last episode to have Captain Archer from the original Enterprise walk on the fucking set and be like, I'm a time traveler, or whatever.
yeah, we are with the temporal authorities.
Yes, we're here to arrest you. Lower your shields and surrender your vessel. You fucked about with time too much. This isn't Marvel. This isn't like Doctor Strange, you guys. This is Star Trek. Even
Yes.
though there is a crossover comic book that I have somewhere in my boxes where the X-Men actually do have to fight the crew of the Enterprise.
That that both sounds great and horrible.
Guess who would win in a fight between Spock and Wolverine?
Spock.
Spock.
Spock beats the shit out of Wolverine. Yep.
I can see that shit. Spock's that nigga. You don't fuck with Spock.
Yeah, buddy. Spock grabbed him by his shoulder and flipped him over, and bada bing, bada boom. That was logical.
Um,
It was a
Yeah,
logical ass whooping.
I I don't understand how people don't think this is Star Trek. I
They're-
never have,
now they do.
especially this season.
Well, yeah, now they do. Now they're jumping on the bandwagon because they know it's got sticking power, so it's like, buttholes. You should have got on board at the beginning whenever they were trying to do this thing, but whatever. You guys want to be Johnny come latelys. And now what you're going to do is you're going to be like, oh, I was a supporter of Discovery from the beginning. Get out of here.
I mean, I'll straight up say I thought this show looked terrible.
Sheesh, you're wrong.
I still checked it out, and I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Proud to admit it. I was wrong. This show's
Yeah.
great. Okay, I do want to hit. I do want to talk about Giorgio before
Go.
we stop.
Go.
This season is ending with Giorgio dying.
I hope not.
No, don't say that.
Yeah.
Don't
She
say
is-
that, dude.
She,
Say Suru dies or some shit like that. Don't. Georgia can't die yet. She
no,
has.
no. Don't take my favorite character from me. I love Saru.
You're taking my favorite character from me.
I don't see her living through this.
I think, in my opinion, I don't think they're going to kill her because they already killed Giorgio once, remember?
Yeah.
And I'm glad because when they announced that Michelle Yeoh was going to be in it, we all thought before the show aired that she was going to be the permanent captain. And I was like, oh, fucking cool. Yeah, dude. I like Michelle Yeoh. Um, then they killed her like in the second episode, and I was like, oh shit, what the fuck? I was hoping Michelle Yeoh was going to be the captain. But then they brought her back with the validity for her to be a badass martial artist, which is that she's a Terran from the mirror dimension. I'm like, perfect. So I think they got a good formula with that character. I think they got a good formula with the actress. I don't
But
think they're going to kill her.
I feel like I feel like the type of character that she is the type of character that's best served to have a small role that has a finite end. She's she's the type of anti-hero character who could very easily overstay her welcome, in my opinion.
I don't know. You guys haven't seen episode 6 yet, so I can't talk. But after you see episode 6, you might see that they're going to take it somewhere different
Okay,
than
just
what you're thinking.
based on this episode, it looks like they're gonna kill her off.
They're not, and I don't think so. I think that what's happening with Giorgio is she's probably going to be going through the most mental stress of any of the crew, even though she's like doing the duck above water thing. Like they can't tell now. Michael can tell, but the reason is she's not just having to deal with temporal mechanics getting messed around with in this reality. She also has to process the fact that she's from a different dimension, and plus time travel. So this is going to take a rigorous toll on her mental psyche, on her psyche as a character. I think that what we're seeing is one, either Section 31 of the future is doing something to her brain, or the temporal police, whoever they are doing something. But because she is probably more receptive to information from the Uberverse, because she's from a different dimension, I think she's getting transmissions from some group, and that's why she's like freezing up and stuff and seeing flashbacks, which we don't know what the flashbacks are yet. I mean, could be from the Terran universe, could be something that hasn't happened. Don't know yet. But I don't think they're going to kill her in episode 6. When you see what happens to Michael Burnham in episode 6, you'll understand why I say she's not. I don't think they're going to kill her off anytime soon. I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna watch episode 6 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I'm very excited for it. So I feel like we beat this dead horse, but
Yeah, me too.
I want to talk about the preview briefly.
Sure.
Um, because they're trying to figure out what caused the burn. Daniel, you've already seen the episode, so I'm just gonna give my prediction. Michael caused the burn.
Yeah.
I don't know
I mean,
how she did, but she did.
I know I can kind of see that, and I haven't even seen what you're talking about. Well, maybe I have, but I kind of feel like when the Red Angel suit came back, it kind of like boom initiated the burn.
I
What?
I gotta plead the fifth
Yeah, plead the fifth, please.
until the next episode. Gotta plead the fifth. No,
Michael, yeah.
but
Sorry,
to
go
some
ahead.
but to summarize the episode, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was a nice farewell to Non's character. It was a nice return to form storytelling for this episode.
Mhm.
We're not. We clearly don't want Discovery to stay in that format because we know Strange New Worlds is going to be doing that, and that's fine with me. So
Yeah, yeah. If it stays in this format, I'm not going to be watching for very long because even if I liked these episodes, I have a strong aversion to self-contained stories without an overarching plot.
yeah, we've been spoiled that way lately, with Netflix and streaming services. But I'm looking. I like this one for what it was, which was a return to form. I'm clearly looking forward to Strange New Worlds, which will be that.
Yeah, and I'm still gonna watch Strange New Worlds. I'm gonna give it its fair shake.
Oh hell
And
yeah!
so, Strange New Worlds is a new Star Trek series coming
It
out.
All right.
It's the Christopher Pike Star Trek show.
All right. So, do you remember at the end of the last season, Kai, whenever the Enterprise was around and it wasn't Kirk and them? It was like Captain Pike and Number One and Spock.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're doing a spin-off show with that crew from the Enterprise, but it's going to be like the old show used to be. Every episode was its own story, and there
Oh,
wasn't.
okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be back to the original like formula, because like the Star Trek that you've been watching, there's like a big storyline throughout the
Yeah.
entire season. That's typically not the way Star Trek is. So
Yeah.
strange.
Each episode, like I can kind of see that because, well, no, because Voyager wasn't. I haven't seen Voyager yet. What was the one with Captain Cisco? Deep Space Nine.
That's Deep Space Nine. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That
that.
that that had a large overarching story, but it still stayed more episodic than Discovery, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought this was a good one. It was a nice stepping stone. It was a nice farewell. It was a nice little contained quasi thing if you wanted to dig out some Bill Gates seed vault comparisons. You should be able to do
I'm
that.
glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that because I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, yeah, because Bill Gates is doing this shit in real life.
Seed vault.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
you would want a seed vault, in case of
Who
something like
wouldn't?
burn. Yeah.
But no, good episode. Not my favorite. Not in my top 5 for this season. Actually, it is. It's number 5.
Well, yeah.
But it was a good episode.
Yeah, it
That
was.
I think I'm spoiled by how good Star Trek Discovery has been. That this okay episode is my least favorite.
Well, when you get down to episode 6, it's going to take you higher and higher. I assure you. I was watching that shit like a little kid last night. It was good. It's a good episode 6 is pretty good, man. It propels the story forward rather nicely. And
Oh,
some of the
sweet. I got
and,
something to look
and
forward to after
oh
this
yeah, and
podcast.
and I'm just look. Star Trek has always been about it's always been a thinking man's Star Wars. I mean, it's always been a thinking person's science fiction. So I've never really complained about the visual storytelling with the low budget, but now that we got a budget, dude, oh my God, especially in episode 6, the visual storytelling is so beautiful. And what I find amazing about it though is that the Star Trek people are not making the mistake of letting it take over the story. They are only using it the way that it needs to be used, which is to enhance the story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and episode 6 is like, so far this season, it's the crown jewel, in my opinion. And you'll know what I'm talking about whenever you see it near the end of the episode. You'll be like, oh, it's stunning.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. I okay, I mentioned this before we went on, but I need more of Adira. I need more of Adira in this season.
Because
Um,
you got a crush on her,
You
dude.
got a little crush on a deer, ain't you?
I will not deny this.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
he used to be a dude in the past life.
She likes to take worms in her. Ow!
Hey, I'm not judging. No kink.
Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this one up, Dylan.
All right, that'll conclude episode 5 of Star Trek Discovery season 3. We'll be back with another review of episode 6 very soon. Stay tuned.
Long life, prosperity.